All right, today we are going to learn about calculating area, and where you're going to cover 3 learning targets. And that is, I can calculate the area of parallelograms, I can calculate the area of triangles, I can calculate the area of trapezoids. So 3 different things today, and you're going to use your guided notes and examples throughout this video. First, I want you to add parallelogram and trapezoid to your vocabulary notebook. A parallelogram is a flat shape with opposite sides parallel, opposite sides equal in length, and opposite angles are equal. And there are some examples of parallelograms. And yes, a rectangle and a square are parallelograms. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral with a pair of parallel sides. The parallel sides are called bases. And there's examples of trapezoids. And you can pause this video at any time if I'm going too fast so you can get caught up. So, in your notes, calculating area. Area is measured in square units. And it can be written 2 ways. And I'm just going to use inches as an example. So you can write out the words square inches, or you can use an exponent of 2 and put inches squared, which is a much faster way to add your units to your answer. So let's look at a parallelogram first. The formula for a parallelogram is A equals base times height. And we're going to look at number 1. So number 1 is a square. And I want you to do all 3 steps every time you do a problem because it helps you memorize the formula. Plus, it shows all your work. So A equals BH. And if you notice on a square, the base and the height are the same. So that one's pretty simple. A equals 8 times 8. And 8 times 8 is 64. Make sure you put your units, feet squared. The next problem is another parallelogram. The base is the bottom, and the height is always the measurement that goes straight up, forms a right angle with the base. So A equals B times H. 2.5 is my base, so 2.5 times 1.8. This 2 over here is not even needed. It's there, but you don't need it. So 2.5 times 1.8 is going to give you your area, which is A equals 4.5 meters squared. Let's go on to triangles. For a triangle, we use the formula A equals 1/2 base times height. And the reason why it's 1/2 base times height is because a triangle is half of a parallelogram. So, on number 1, A equals 1/2 base times height. My base is the bottom, 22, times the height, which once again goes straight up, forms a right angle with the base, so times 20. So I have 1/2 times 22 times 20, which gives me 220 meters squared. On number 2, I have a right triangle. Formula, still the same, 1/2 base times height. A equals 1/2 times 5 times 12. And when I multiply that, I get 30 centimeters squared. 3 steps on every problem. And last but not least, the trapezoid. And the trapezoid formula is 1/2 times the base 1 plus base 2 times the height. So we'll write the formula. Base 1 and base 2 are the sides that are parallel. So 12 and 16 are my bases. So 1/2 parentheses 12 plus 16 close parentheses. The height forms the right angle, so times 10. And that gives us 140 meters squared. Number 2 is also a trapezoid. So we're using the same formula. Our bases are 5 and 8 because they are parallel. The height is 4 because 4 is the side that forms the right angles. 5 is useless information. And that is 26 meters squared. You've got to memorize the formulas for parallelogram, triangles, and trapezoids. The trapezoid is the hardest one to remember. Triangles and parallelograms are very easy. Now, what I'd like for you to do in your notebook is I want you to complete the 14 practice problems, and then you can move on to the next assignment for today.